Hello students, today we are going to do the chapter Grandfather and the Python. Grandfather and the Python is written by Ruskin Bond. Before we start, please make sure you have your textbook in front of you. It will be helpful. Let's see the characters present in the story. Grandfather, grandmother, a small boy, cook, gardener, python, Aunt Mabel. Now this is a story about a grandfather's love for all sorts of animal life. He is someone who loves wildlife like birds and animals. The grandmother is a nice lady, but she is very strict about few things. Like in the story we see that she is not fond of reptiles and she is very strict that she will never keep any reptiles in her house. The third character is a narrator himself, who is a young boy, and the story is written in first person. The fourth character is Aunt Mabel, and she is the cousin of the grandfather. Aunt Mabel comes into their house as a guest, and she encounters the python. Now these are the main characters of the story. Let's begin with the text. Grandmother was tolerant of most birds and animals, but she drew the line at reptiles. She said they made her blood run cold. Even a sweet, handsome chameleon had to be given up. Grandfather should have known that there was little chance of his being allowed to keep the python. It was about 4 feet long, a young one, when grandfather bought it from a snake charmer of 6 rupees, impressing the bazaar crowd by slinging it across his shoulders and walking home with it. So we see that the grandmother, she was fond of birds and animals, but particularly she never liked reptiles. Long back the grandfather, he had a sweet-tempered chameleon, but as grandmother did not like any reptiles, so the chameleon had to be given up by the grandfather. So here we see that the grandfather, he goes to the market and he buys a python from a snake charmer for 6 rupees. He should have known that the grandmother will never allow him to keep it, but still, as he is very much fond of the animals, so he bought it. Everyone in the market was amazed to see the grandfather carrying the python around his neck and moving. You can see in the picture how bravely the grandfather is moving with the snake around his neck. Grandmother nearly fainted at the sight of the python curled round grandfather's throat. "You will be strangled," she cried. "Get rid of it at once." She said that you'll be suffocated. "Remove this python from your neck." "Nonsense," said grandfather. "He is only a young fellow. He will soon get used to us." So the grandfather is trying to defend and he is telling that no, he's a young fellow. See how nicely he's treating the python like a kid. And he's telling that very soon the python will get used to them. "Will he indeed?" said grandmother. "But I have no intention of getting used to him. You know quite well that your cousin Mabel is coming to stay with us tomorrow. She will leave us the minute she knows there is a snake in the house." So here we see the grandmother is unwilling to keep the python and has no interest. And also we get the information that because Aunt Mabel, who is the cousin of grandfather, is coming to stay with them, may leave if she sees the python. "Well, perhaps we ought to show it to her as soon as she arrives," said grandfather, who did not look forward to fussy Aunt Mabel's visit any more than I did. So we see grandfather is not much fond of Aunt Mabel. "You will do such things," said grandmother. Now the grandmother is very much irritated by seeing the behavior of the grandfather. "Well, I can't let it loose in the garden," said grandfather with an innocent expression. "It might find its way into poultry house, and then where would we be?" How exasperating you are, grumbled grandmother. Lock the creature in the bathroom. Go back to the bazaar and find the man you bought it from and get him to come and take it back. So the grandmother is asking the grandfather to lock the python inside the bathroom and to find the man from whom he bought the python and to get that man here so that it can be taken back. In my awestruck presence, grandfather had to take the python into the bathroom where he placed it in a steep-sided tin tub. Then he hurried off to the bazaar to look for the snake charmer while grandmother paced anxiously up and down the veranda. When he returned, looking crestfallen, we knew he had not been able to find the man. So here we see the presence of the narrator as there is the mention of I here. Now he is the grandchild. The narrator is awestruck. Now why is he awestruck? Because he is amazed seeing his grandfather's bravery, that he is able to put the python around his neck like that. We also see that the grandfather kept the python inside the bathroom in a tub and went to find the snake charmer. And grandmother paced anxiously. Now paced anxiously means moved from one room to another in tension or in anger. She was very much tense and she was also very much angry with grandfather because he bought the python. Grandfather returned and he looked sad. And now when he looked sad, everyone understood that he could not find the man from whom he bought the python. You had better take it away yourself, said grandmother in a relentless mood. Leave it in the jungle across the river bed. Then grandmother is asking the grandfather to leave the python himself in the jungle. All right, but let me give it a feed first, said grandfather, and producing a plucked chicken, he took it into the bathroom, followed in a single file by me, grandmother, and a curious cook and gardener. So we see the grandfather is very caring person and also an animal lover, because before leaving it to the jungle, he says to the grandmother that the python has to be fed first. So he takes chicken into the bathroom, and when he goes there, we see the presence of grandmother, grandchild, that is the narrator, the cook and the gardener. Now as soon as grandfather he went there, he saw the python was missing. Like, see, grandfather threw open the door and stepped into the bathroom. I peeped round his legs while the others remained well behind. We could not see the python anywhere. So yes, this definitely it's saying here that this python is missing. Now what happened here? Everyone was scared. Everyone was just peeping to see where is the python. And when grandfather went inside, he saw that the python was missing. He is gone, announced grandfather. He must have felt hungry. I hope he is not too hungry, I said. Now the narrator is also very scared of the python. We left the window open, said grandfather, looking embarrassed. A careful search was made of the house, the kitchen, the garden, the stable, and the poultry shed, but the python could not be found anywhere. So they searched it everywhere but could not found. Now we see that there is a mention of stable, the poultry shed. All these things has shown that this is a rural kind of setting. The house of the grandfather and the grandmother was in a rural area and not in an urban area, as there is stable, the poultry shed. Okay. He will be away by now, said grandfather reassuringly. So the grandfather is telling to the grandmother that the python is away by now. I certainly hope so, said grandmother, was halfway between anxiety and relief. And the grandmother is telling, yes, I believe that it is away. Aunt Mabel arrived next day for a 3-week visit, and for a couple of days Grandfather and I were a little apprehensive in case the python made a sudden reappearance, but on the third day, when he did not show up, we felt confident that he had gone for good. So when Aunt Mabel arrived, Grandfather and the narrator both were a little tensed that what if the python make an appearance in front of Aunt Mabel. But when on the third day it did not appear, so they understood that maybe the python went from there. And then towards evening we were startled by a scream in the garden. Seconds later, Aunt Mabel came flying up the veranda steps, looking as though she had seen a ghost. We see that Aunt Mabel is very scared here, and here the word flying up is mentioned. Now, why flying up is mentioned? It is an expression to convey speed or sense of fear. So she has seen something which, by seeing which, she got scared. In the guava tree, she gasped. I was reaching for a guava when I saw it staring at me. The look in its eyes as though it would devour me. She is telling when she went near the guava tree to pluck a guava, she saw it staring at me. Now, it here is the python. She is mentioning the python as it. The looks in its eyes as though it would devour me. She is telling that as if the python would have eaten her up. Calm down, my dear, urged grandmother, sprinkling her with eau de cologne. Calm down and tell us what you saw. So the grandmother is trying to calm down Aunt Mabel. A snake, sobbed Aunt Mabel, a great boa constrictor. It must have been 20 feet long in the guava tree. Its eyes were terrible. It looked at me in such a queer way. Now Aunt Mabel is giving the description of the python, and she thought it is a great boa constrictor. Now great boa constrictor are large South American snakes, variety of snake. So she's telling that when she went there, she saw it and she was terrified by seeing that. My grandparents looked significantly at each other, and grandfather said, I will go out and kill it, and sheepishly taking hold of an umbrella sallied out into the garden. But when he reached the guava tree, the python had disappeared. So we see the grandfather, in a very determined manner, he goes out to find out the python. Aunt Mabel must have frightened it away, I said. But when he reached there, he did not find the python. Seeing that, the author, the narrator, is making fun of Aunt Mabel, that the python got scared seeing Aunt Mabel. Hush, said grandfather, we must not speak of your aunt in that way, but his eyes were alive with laughter. So the grandfather is pretending to scold the grandchild, but his eyes expression shows he is also kind of enjoying the joke of the grandchild. After this incident, the python began to make a series of appearances, often in the most unexpected places. So after that day, when Aunt Mabel actually saw the python there, from that day onwards, the python has made several visits. They saw it in many unexpected places. Aunt Mabel had another fit of hysterics when she saw him admiring her from under a cushion. She packed her bags, and grandmother made us intensify the hunt. Now what happened on the next day when Aunt Mabel saw the python coming under a cushion? Right, that time she packed her bags and she went away from there. She left the house, and grandmother made it very compulsory for everyone to find out the python. Next morning, I saw the python curled up on the dressing table, gazing at his reflection in the mirror. I went for grandfather, but by the time we returned, the python had moved elsewhere. A little later, he was seen in the garden again. Then he was back on the dressing table, admiring himself in the mirror. Evidently, he had become enamored. Now, enamored means fallen in love of his own reflection. grandfather observed that perhaps the attention he was receiving from everyone had made him a little conceited. Now here the word conceited means proud. So what is happening here? In the morning, the narrator saw the python curled up on the dressing table. So after seeing the python there, he went to call his grandfather. By the time he returned, the python had moved elsewhere. Then again later, a little later, he was seen in the garden. Then again the python came back to the dressing table. Now what he was doing near the dressing table? The python was seeing its reflection in the mirror, and it was very much falling in love with his own reflection and was proud to see himself in the mirror. Okay, he is trying to look better for Aunt Mabel. Now again we see here that the grandchild is making fun of Aunt Mabel. He is telling that maybe the python is trying to look better for Aunt Mabel. I said a remark that I instantly regretted because grandmother overheard it. Now this time when he was making fun of Aunt Mabel, the narrator, this time the grandmother was present there and brought the flat of her broad hand down on my head. And what happened when the grandmother heard the grandchild making fun of Aunt Mabel? She just slapped him on his head. Well, now we know his weakness, said grandfather. So the grandfather is saying that now we know the weakness of the python. Are you trying to be funny too? Demanded grandmother, looking her most threatening. Now she is telling, the grandmother is telling to the grandfather, even you are trying to be funny. I only meant he was becoming very vain. Then the grandfather said that no, he's not making fun. He is trying to figure out the weakness of the python. So he's telling here, I only meant he was becoming very vain, said grandfather hastily. It should be easier to catch him now. Now he had understood what is the weak point of the python. He's very vain means very proud. So he's telling that I only meant he was becoming very proud, said grandfather hastily. Hastily means here quickly. So the grandfather is telling, as we know the weak point of him, we will be catching him easily. We can easily catch him. He set about preparing large cage with a mirror at one end. In the case, he left a juicy chicken and various other delicacies and fitted up the opening with a trapdoor. Aunt Mabel had already left by that time. We had this trap ready, but we had to go on with the project because we could not have the python prowling about the house indefinitely. So they already planned, they have kept a cage, their large cage for the python so that they can catch it. And what they did, they have put some chicken, juicy chicken and some other food there, delicacies, so that the python enters it near the, and it was near the mirror. And when the python enters there, they can trap it. For a few days, nothing happened. And then as I was leaving for school one morning, I saw the python curled up in the cage. He had eaten everything left out for him and was relaxing in front of the mirror with something resembling a smile on his face. You can imagine a python smiling. So what happened? For a few days, the python was not visiting them. It was also not coming near the mirror. So one morning, after a few days, one morning when the narrator was leaving for his school, he saw the python curled up in the cage. He was already inside the cage and he had eaten everything left there. And it was relaxing in front of the mirror again. And it was smiling by seeing his own face. Now, it's very impossible to imagine a python in front of the mirror and smiling, but you can take the reference of the picture. From the picture you can see how the python is enjoying by seeing its own reflection. I lowered the trap door gently, but the python took no notice. He was in raptures. He was very much busy in praising himself, in looking at his own reflection over his handsome reflection. Grandfather and the gardener put the cage in the pony trap and made a journey to the other side of the river bed. Now, as they found the python, what they did, they took it to the riverbed. They left the cage in the jungle with the trapdoor open. So what happened when they reached in the jungle? They left the trapdoor open so that the python can come out of the cage. He made no attempt to get out, said grandfather later, and I did not have the heart to make the mirror away. It's the first time I have seen a snake fall in love. Now when the grandfather returned from the jungle, he said that when they reached there, the python did not move from there. It was only admiring itself in front of the mirror. And the grandfather is telling it is the first time he has seen a snake falling in love with itself so much. So here the story ends.